expertise, and intellectual property are more critical than any economic resources this country can possess, such as land, natural resources, or even manpower. Let me repeat that. In the globalized economy, knowledge resources such as know-how, expertise, and intellectual property are more critical than economic resources such as land, natural resources, or even manpower. So the whole concept of saying, I just need to find me a piece of land to build me a house and all those different things, and I say to you, develop your mind, and you can buy as much land anywhere you want, anywhere in the world. Let's talk about present and future change. Now, I want you to listen to this, for those of you that think you have mastered this business class. Every 2 or 3 years, the knowledge base doubles. Every day, 7,000 scientific and technical articles are published. Satellites orbiting the globe send enough data to fill 19 million volumes in the Library of Congress every 2 weeks. High school graduates have been exposed to more information than your grandparents were in their complete lifetime. Only 15% of jobs, listen to this very carefully now, only 15% of jobs will require a college education. Only 15% of jobs in the future will require a college education, but nearly all jobs will require the equivalent knowledge of a college education. There will be as much change in the next 3 decades as there was in the last 300 years. There will be as much change in the next 3 decades. Most of your working lives. There'll be as much change in the next 3 decades as there have been in the last 300 years. In view of this is what we need to do. We need to develop, and when I said we, I'm talking as a collaborative effort, because you cannot actually be involved in a society and not participate. You don't become involved in it after you're finished. You must make yourself available and become integrated in it as you exist. We need to develop new employment strategies for the Bahamas, and that requires you to begin to think, investigate, and develop ideas and concepts of things that you think that can be done. Remember the concept I told you? It's impossible for you to see something that don't exist. So if you see it in your mind, you just must make the decision as to move forward towards it. So we must develop new employment strategy. We must immediately create an economic action plan that needs to be prepared for the development and diversification of the economy of the Bahamas. Support and guidance of experts and other knowledgeable persons should be enlisted in this task. If you have an idea or a concept, all you have to do is seek out someone and expertise in that. Most of you, I think most of you have used to chip your teeth tonight, will not actually enter dental school. What would you do? You'd go and buy the expertise of a dentist. In that same capacity in business, whatever skills you're lacking. Now, I want you to pay close attention to these things, because all of this is going to build on the concept I told you called Solomon's secret. In the end of this presentation, I'm going to explain to you why Solomon was considered the wisest man that ever lived. It should be preceded by a detailed consultation with our community-based organizations, the government, and other stakeholders to clearly define aims, objects, strategies, and activities of the project proposal. I see this as an opportunity for us as a country to begin building a world-class, world-leading, world-class education system that equips all Bahamians with the knowledge, skills, and values to be successful citizens in the 21st century. We can use this economic down period to educate ourselves to embrace this new economy. Because for those of you that's sitting and waiting that we're going to have an economic revitalization, so you will say tourism will come back, and banking will come back, and financial services come back. I want you to know, even if they have some minuscule growth, I want you to be aware that the global economy will be growing hundreds of times faster, and your existence in 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10 years will be in that global economy. We must end the concept, especially as young people, you must end the concept that the only thing past the airport or the wharf is shopping. It's a global economy that you must participate in. You must expand your desire to seek employment beyond the concept of graduating from here, preparing a resume, and sending it to whatever circle of companies that may be available here in the Bahamas. You must begin looking at a global perspective. You must begin doing research. Begin looking at the skills that is going to be required in the global marketplace so that you could identify your niche in that place and begin to work towards that goal. And you must, I'm going to tell you, you must make the leap. Remember, 9.5 feet across a 10-foot ditch is no better than the guy jumping 1. Either you make it or you don't. The knowledge-based economy is marked by an increasing labor market demand for highly skilled laborers who are also enjoying higher wage premiums. Knowledge is now recognized as the driver of productivity and economic growth, leading to a new focus on the role of information technology and learning in economic performance. Investments. You can listen to Barack Obama as President of the United States that sets the trend for the global economy. And you will see that investments are now being directed to high technology goods and services, particularly information and communications technology. Computers and related equipment are the fastest growing component of the tangible investment. Equally important are more intangible investments. These are intangible as those that you can't touch. These are the knowledge-based economy, such as research and development, the training of the labor force, where you become an expert in your particular skill, and you actually train those that is trying to enter into those low areas. And you always worry about the immigration status, such as we say the Haitians and Jamaicans and the Indians and all these other people that's coming into the economy. Instead of trying to compete with them for the job, put yourself in the HCD. It's called Human Capital Development. So you will be in a position to be the one to train them to do the job that they want. Investments in knowledge and human capital development can increase the productive capacity and other factors of this society, especially the public service, and increased production will also transform them into new product and processes. And since these knowledge investments are characterized by increasing rather than decreasing returns, they are the key to our long-term economic growth. Listen to this again. The digital revolution has not only begun. I can tell you, being involved with it for 30 years, it has intensified. When we sat in IBM, we had something called a disk drive, a floppy disk drive. It had 1 megabyte of information. Our dream in 1984 was that one day you would actually have a 100 megabyte hard drive in your computer. That was our biggest goal and ambition. Again, that was goal. But our vision was that one day we would actually see exactly what is happening today. And I'm pleased and I'm satisfied, and it gives me great joy to see it. But it also brings me a level of frustration to know, and I want you to understand this. In the early part of this year, I think a building in Europe somewhere, they had a big announcement where that building was, the entire units was wired for 100 megabytes per second. The entire building. Well, I want you to know one thing. Most of you in your 20s or in your teens, I want you to know for the last 15 years, Bahamas, the entire country, 78,000 homes have been wired for 100 megabytes per second. You have been ahead of the curve for 15 years, ahead of everyone else. We are one of the most digitally prepared countries in the world and one of the most least utilized. Remember when Cable Bahamas used to give you the 1 megabyte? Then they went to the 3, the 6, and the 9. Did they ever come in and change your modem or anything else? They didn't. They didn't have to. Software, it's called CAPS. They use the software because they basically say you're not ready for it. You have not prepared yourself. I have a 100 megabyte line running into my house. I have a 1,000 megabyte line running into my business. And that's equivalent for those of you that have the 1 megabyte. Just imagine something I can download. I'm talking digital, not just your analog coming through your modem. I can download information on my computer at home anywhere from 100 to 300 times faster than you do. I can almost reach into the internet and get what you want. And that's what we are moving to. That is what your country, your Bahamas, is already prepared for. All you have to do is actually educate and inform yourself so you can embrace it. So you could actually begin to utilize this infrastructural backbone that you have paid for, your parents have paid for,